All moms want to raise strong, confident, happy daughters, but a headline that caught our attention suggests the opposite may be happening. It was a recent article in the Deseret News that pointed to research showing teenage girls are stressed out and their anxiety levels are exploding. So today we're asking the question, are we raising warriors? Therapist Dr. Julie Hanks is here with her take on the topic and also some strategies to help your own teenage daughter or granddaughter deal with anxiety. Julie, it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
I think it's one thing to read a headline or to even read research, but you're really on the ground level working with these families. What are you seeing in your practice?
We are seeing an increase in anxiety, I think across the board, not just in girls. We've actually seen a lot of young boys, like prepubescent boys with anxiety. That's been rising. But the puberty age, there's a shift where mental health disorders seem to go up for girls. And now that might be because we socialize girls to ask for help more than we socialize boys, so it might be a little bit skewed.
So come 13, 14, girls know to say, hey mom, I'm not feeling well, or I'm worried, I'm concerned.
Right, and they may be more likely to let someone know that they have it. Yeah, or to talk to the doctor, or can I go to therapy or whatever.
So I realize there's not one answer to this big question, but what do you think is causing this spike in anxiety?
Yeah, I think it's multi-dimensional. I think it is our lifestyle, poor nutrition, poor sleep, lots of processed foods. That, I think, contributes to it. I think the focus on the external for girls at puberty, right? There's all these mixed messages.
Sure, yeah.
I think the kind of diminishing face-to-face relationships, or that kind of attachment that's really important for regulating our anxiety.
Those healthy relationships.
Right, the healthy relationships that aren't based on approval. So close family relationships, extended family relationships are not as common. We don't live together in family tribes anymore, right? So
I think of growing up, my grandma, my grandpa, my aunts, they were a part of my life. They were piano recitals and dance recitals, and that's changing. You see that changing in communities.
Yeah, so that sense of more disconnection can impact anxiety.
What about themes? Are there any themes that girls are particularly worried about? I mean, obviously you turn on the news and there is a lot to be concerned about, but what themes are you hearing these teenage girls come forward that are really concerning to them?
You know, a lot of it has to do with how they are perceived socially.
Really? So it's not the big...
Well, and it is the big, but everybody comes in with that. Like adults come in worried about the state of the world. But a lot of it is social approval, perfectionism. Those kind of issues are really, really big.
Well, obviously there's an important place for a therapist like yourself to help navigate these emotions, but on the parent front, let's get to some strategies. You say one thing parents can do is to really just close their mouth and open their ears and be a better listener.
It is the hardest thing to do as a parent, because I know as a mom, when I see my child struggling, I feel pain and then I want to fix it so we both feel better.
Right.
But the best thing to do is get more information and really listen. What's going on? Tell me more about that. Wow, when do you feel it the most? That sounds really hard. Are there certain people that bring that feeling up? Just ask questions and then listen.
And can listening really just take it down? Because even as I'm role-playing that in my head, I would think, well, gosh, I've got to offer a solution or some sort of calming stroke, but just listening can take them down a level.
Right. We regulate each other physiologically. Like being with other people can calm us down, especially touch. And mother's voice, there's actually research on this. A mother's voice calms teenage daughters. It's different than texting them a nice message.
Just hearing the tones.
So remembering that the relationship is really important in calming that down, and also labeling, wow, it sounds like anxiety or worry. Just labeling the experience can decrease the intensity of it.
Do you have to be careful about that word, though? Because I can see throwing out the word anxiety to say a 12-year-old girl, and their mind gets wrapped around it. They say, I have anxiety. I am anxious. Can that build and build and build to the point that they're labeled that and live that?
Yeah, it can. But you can also say, and everyone experiences anxiety.
Okay.
And that's different than an anxiety disorder, right?
Okay.
So it's more like worry or... yeah, so you can normalize it too.
You talk about how we're losing those face-to-face kind of human healthy relationships. I have to imagine social media. We bring this up all the time, but I have to imagine this topic particularly, it really does come into play.
Yeah, it really does. I think it's important for parents to monitor social media, the amount of time, the age that kids are on social media. I know some 7-, 8-year-olds that are on Snapchat and Instagram. There is no reason. I mean, and all of the social media sites say 13 is the age where you can actually open an account. So watch that. Don't let your kids be introduced to, oh, how many likes do I have? You know, at age 7, they don't need that. Also, a good rule of thumb is no technology in bedrooms. Because lack of sleep.
I like that rule.
Interrupted sleep. So we have our kids plug them in the hallway
so
to charge them. Right.
They're checked out.
Right. So you can sleep, because sleep deprivation, your anxiety, your coping skills really are worn down.
You say to encourage belonging when it comes to your team's social groups and activities. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So it's really important for all of us, and particularly teens, to feel like they fit in, like they belong somewhere. And so it could be a church group, it could be a school group, it could be a neighborhood group, but it's really important that they feel like they have a place in the bigger picture. It's not just them like out there by themselves. And so that sense of belonging can really be a buffer for anxiety and worries. Like, well, at least I know that I have this group, or my family loves me, or those relationships and a sense of I matter to a larger group is really important.
That purpose.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this in conclusion. How do you know, you talk about normalizing it, everyone experiences anxiety. It's an obvious question, but how do you know when to loop in a professional to reach out to a therapist like yourself for help?
So if your child has their daily functioning is impaired, that's for sure. Like if they're not sleeping, they're not eating, they're not socializing, you want to get an evaluation as soon as possible. If they're concerned about it, then if they say, I think something's wrong with me, then listen to them, go get it checked out. You can talk to a pediatrician just to go, hey, will you screen for this? You can call a mental health professional. Parents usually wait too long. Like I've never said, oh, why don't you come back in a year when your child is having panic attacks? And then rarely does that happen. It's usually, wow, get some skills and get some treatment earlier. And worst case, they'll be like, oh, they don't have an anxiety disorder. They need some, skills for meditation or whatever, stress
management.
management.
They'll have those tools down the road if it were to escalate.
Right.
How can we get in touch with you, Julie?
WasatchFamilyTherapy.com.
I know you have a team of trained therapists who work with us on a daily basis.
Yeah, we have some awesome child and adolescent therapists that specialize in this.
Your expertise shines through. Thank you so much.
Brooke.
All right.